Okay, good morning, everyone. We just want to say thank you and welcome for joining us for our Spring 2025 Pre-Departure webinar. So to get us started, we will start with a land acknowledgement.
Hi, my name is Swapnil Thakkar. I'm currently International Student Navigator in International Office. For the line acknowledgement, as we start this pre-departure session at Canada College, we want to take a moment to acknowledge the land we are on. We do this to show respect and gratitude for the indigenous people who have lived here for many generations. Canada College is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people within lands protected by the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850. This land has been home to the Nipissing First Nation since time immemorial. Even though we are meeting virtually today, we want to recognize the importance of the land we call home. This is part of our commitment to building better relationships and understanding between nations and to learning more about the local indigenous peoples and their cultures. Across Canada, we acknowledge the land of the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people. And the next slide will be taken over by Laura, who is the Director of International Office. Thank you.
Laura, you're on
I
mute.
think you're on mute, yeah.
My apologies. Hello, Canada College International students. Welcome to the Spring 2025 Pre-Departure Orientation Session. My name is Laura Solano Moya, Director of Canada International, and today I have the pleasure of offering a few welcoming words at this orientation session to introduce the presenters and the topics of today's activity. We hope that through this session, you will be well prepared to arrive safely in Canada, register for your classes, understand what our local community is all about, and give and receive communication with your college effectively. Please remember that this session is designed to be the bridge between your travel to Canada and the orientation activities designed to be uh, when you arrive physically in Canada and Norway. In fact, the Spring 25 in-person orientation is already confirmed for April 25, 2025. Our presentation today is structured in six sections. In section first, Chris is going to introduce you to your host country, Canada, to your host local community, the city of Norway, and finally to your learning institution, Canada College. Following this, in section two, Nicole will introduce you with the elements that you can expect to be relative to registration. There are many helpful pieces in this section that they can serve to reduce your stress and anxiety later down on the line. After that, Paul will provide important information in preparation for your travel to Canada. We will touch on matters that will help to ensure the smoothest possible trip for you to Canada. Living in Norway is also something you will need to adapt when you arrive. This is why in section 4, Sarah and Merly will be sharing with you many useful tips and best practices to making your stay in this country a little bit easier. Following that, Jessica will conclude introducing you to the main communication channels for international students at Canada College. This is important because getting and receiving the right information is crucial for your success at Canada, especially on proper time. Finally, Swapnil, our international student navigator that you just met, will share his experience, and his perspective of being a Panther at Canada College. With this, I turn to our first presenters to kick off your session with an introduction to your host country, Canada, to your city of Norway and Canada College. Chris, over to you. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy the session today.
Thank you, Laura. And again, welcome everyone to this session. And I'm going to be talking, as has been said, about Canada, Canadore, and North Bay. And the first thing I just want to start with is the name Canadore College. There's a sort of a blank in our history of where that name comes from and what it actually means. It's a name that's put two words together. And I think where that name actually comes from, and I'd like to do more research on it, is bringing together the word Canada and the French word adore, which means to love or care for. And I think that's really what you're going to experience when you come here to Canada and to Canadore College. You're going to find an institution and not only an institution, but an institution of people that are here to that really to take care and to become part of a family. Next slide, please. So you're coming to Canada, as I hope most of you know, and specifically to Ontario. North Bay is located it's called the Gateway to the North, and it's located above the what we call Southern Ontario in Northern Ontario. If you're following the news and are concerned about annexation, we are out of the parent annexation zone, so that's some good news for you. Ontario is the largest province in Ontario, has the largest population, and North Bay is, like I said, the gateway to the north. It has main industries include naval base. No, it's not a naval base. It's an air base. NORAD has a base here with the Canadian Armed Forces, as well as mining industries, support mining industries. There's not mines here, but they're supporting it for mines. The university and college are major employers, as well as small businesses and that sort of thing that you can see here. As I said, North Bay is the gateway to the north. From here, going north up the highway is into some very fertile ground, actually up around New Liskeard, but then it's into, as we say, rocks and trees onto the Canadian Shield. So next slide, please. So the distances from major city centers, North Bay is about 125 kilometers from Sudbury, Ontario, which is really the regional center of Northern Ontario. And it is 125 kilometers to the west on Highway 17. We're also 345 kilometers north of Toronto. And although Sudbury is maybe considered the regional center, North Bay is closer to Toronto, or by drive anyway, as it's a 4-lane highway all the way down. So that's about a 3-hour drive. Montreal is in Quebec, which is our province to the east, the Francophone province, and is 345, I was saying kilometers, it's miles. 555 kilometers to the east. Hamilton, London, not a lot of students go to those places. For interest of some, actually, Toronto, Brampton is also in that Toronto area, and it's probably a little bit further, but I think it all works out, so it's probably about the same distance. So it's pretty. North Bay is actually well suited or centrally located in Ontario to get to a lot of these major centers. And it's well served by public transit and buses, and coming soon rail as well. But that's a work in progress. So one of the nice things about Northern Ontario is for the time you're here, you get to experience the full range of seasons that Canada has to offer. You'll be arriving in spring. This is the first day of spring, so spring is beginning to sprang, I guess. And we have summer, fall, and winter as well. The weather in the spring is like today can be a real mix, especially this early in the spring. It's wet right now, but there's freezing rain and snow just north of us as well. And we might even get some snow here, but the melt has begun, and we're beginning to see some of the like tulip buds are coming up and that sort of thing in certain areas. The fall is the colors, and you'll see that in force in North Bay, especially, and in Northern Ontario. Spring, I missed summer. Summer is personally my favorite time here. This is where you can see a lot of, or get out and do things like outdoor things like swimming in lakes, fishing, boating, all those sort of things. And then I already mentioned fall. Jumping over to winter. Winter can be cold. We've had a lot of snow this winter, but it's been hasn't been as much snow over the trend hasn't been as much snow, but we did get a lot of snow this winter. And again, there are activities to take part in that, including biking with giant wheels, as you can see here, but also skiing, snowshoeing, which is walking across the snow with great big shoes, they're like tennis rackets actually. Ice fishing, which we try to get out to do. Skidooing or snowmobiling, things like that. Next slide, please. So average temperatures when you arrive, around the 10-degree mark is the average from April to June. Average high is 15 and average low is 5. The average high, I think, might be creeping up a little bit through global warming, and July to August, average high is 23 and the average temperature is 18 degrees. We get some stretches of what we call heat waves where we might get into the 30-degree mark, very rarely above that, sometimes maybe up to the high 30s, but that would be on a particularly hot and particularly unusual day. And then September and November, coming back to the type of similar to what we're experiencing in spring, a little bit colder, average of 10 degrees above Celsius. And back to winter with an average high of 5 degrees, an average low of minus 14, and the average is about minus 9 degrees. We get some really cold days into the minus 20, sometimes minus 30, but generally they don't last very long, just 1 or 2 days. Next slide, please. So Canadore College has several campuses. It's a multi-campus college. We have our College Drive campus, is the campus that we share with Nipissing University. It's the first campus opened. We have our Commerce Court campus, which is in North Bay, which a lot of the business programs, computer programs, those sort of things, entrepreneurship are located at. We have our Aviation campus, which is located at the airport, which houses most of our aviation program specifically. And then we also have our West Parry Sound campus, which is south of us by about an hour or so, and is a smaller satellite campus. All of our campuses have modern equipment, libraries, cafeteria, student lounge, especially the 3 main campuses. And then the Parry Sound students, I know there's none on this call, but just for the record anyway, have access to off-campus 24/7 gym memberships, lounges, and such. I'm going to say a little bit about the in-person orientations. This, I think, is one of the most important things you can do to get started on the right foot at Canadore, is to attend the in-person orientation on April 25th. It gives you a chance to meet your peers, faculty, support, staff, get to know the campus a little bit. It's not a very big campus, but it's still big. Gives you opportunity to learn about different policies and procedures, your academic guidelines, expectations. And if you're unable to attend orientation, you still have to access the FACTS, FAQs, and the international office at your campus. And this is, as noted already, confirmed for April 25th. The reason I really emphasize this is missing this can set you up with problems going forward. And I'll give an example from my own experience. My son was an international student in Wales, and it was a failed international. He was not a failure, but he was a failed transition, and in large part because due to problems with his visa, he missed the orientation, the in-person orientation. And so when he needed help, when things were happening, needed to find support, he just really didn't know where to go. And he tried asking people and didn't ask the right people and got sent to the wrong places. And it made it a really frustrating and long experience. If he had been at that in-person orientation, a lot of those problems would have been taken care of before he even started class. And so I can't stress how important this is, both to learn and know and see the faces that are your support at Canadore College, as well as to meet your peers who are there in the same boat as you, and so having that sort of solidarity with them as well, and be able to learn together where and how you can access resources. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Nicole, I believe, who will be talking about specific registration issues and questions. So thank you, and look forward to seeing you in April.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. So my name is Nicole Dupuis. I am one of 3 international admissions representatives who work on the international admissions team. So I work alongside Julie Perry and Sylvie Burns. I'm sure you're familiar with their names. And we would have reviewed your application and issued you your offer of admission. So congratulations and welcome. Next slide, please. So registration related matters. I think the most important thing to remember is that because you've been issued an offer of admission does not mean that you have registered for your program. And sometimes there's a misconception there. So we'll be sure to explain that. So accepting the offer and having an LOA does not mean that you've registered for your classes automatically. You're going to register through the self-service portal, which is different. And you can only do so once you arrive in Canada and you've received your study permit. So step 2 would be to upload your study permit. Study permit should be uploaded to OCAS. And important to know here, you or your agent, once you get your study permit, once you land in Canada, it has to be uploaded to your OCAS application. And sometimes students forget or agents forget to click the submit button. It's important that when you upload your study permit, you click that submit, because then we're notified and we look for your study permit on a daily frequency, a couple times, 3 times a day, in fact, so that we don't miss them. So if you have uploaded your study permit and you have clicked submit and you're sure it's there, there's no need for you to follow up. We check on those regularly because we want you to be able to register. And you should be able to register within 12 hours max, depending when you land and when you upload your study permit. Okay. Email with instructions to register will arrive to you closer to the registration, so about 3 weeks before registration opens, and it'll give you all the instructions you need to do that successfully. It's important to note that you are the one that should register for your classes. That is a role that you take on as a student, and allowing other people to register for you can complicate things in the long term. Once you are registered, you may view your schedule through your self-service account, and we do not have access to your schedule before this. Okay, so you only get your class schedule once you have registered. And you can always reach out to international.admissions@canadacollege.ca. You can always call us. The number for the college will be 705-474-7600, and our extension is 5420. Next slide, please. In case your study permit has been refused before you arrive, you can request a deferral to the next intake. We allow 1 deferral only. So if you notice that or you maybe your study permit, your study visa hasn't arrived and you don't think you're going to make it on time, you can request a deferral through the OCAS portal. And note that the deferral date to request that deferral, the deadline is April 25th. And if it's because your visa has been refused, and you want to request a refund, you can do so, but you'll have to upload your refusal letter, your visa refusal letter, and then your refund would be everything that you've paid minus a $300 administration fee. And of course, if you're working with an agent, the agent will gladly do all that work for you. So have them request a deferral for you on OCAS. And I think that is it for me. Welcome. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, so withdrawals and refunds. Right. So if you If you want to request a refund, you have to fill out the international refund form. All this information can be found on the website on our international FAQ page. All refund requests must be initiated through the OCAS portal. The student will receive automatic email responses from OCAS when your refund has been approved. Important to note, the refunds are not processed by Julie, Sylvia, or myself, not through the international admissions team. They are processed through our finance team. So once you have requested your refund, you would want to follow up with the email that is provided, I believe, on the refund form. Okay. So $300 administration fee is withheld for visa refusals, like I explained. And for students who are withdrawing before the 10th day of class, but it's not because of refusal, you just can't come anymore or for whatever reason, the college withholds the $2,700 non-refundable deposit. And no refunds are given. So if you request your refund after the 10th day of class, the college withholds your full payment that you've paid. And please note that refunds can take up to 8 weeks. If this time has passed, then you will want to reach out to, the email is not there, but the email is cair@canadorcollege.ca. And again, that information can be found on our website, or feel free to reach out to us and we will provide that email to you. Okay, so bring your own device. Students are responsible to bring their own laptops, anything that you might need to use to study. And you can view these details of what you need on that website that is listed here, canadorcollege.ca. Bring your own device. There's a list here of what you are responsible for. So the cost of your laptop and computer, any of the software that you might need for a specific program is your responsibility. It's important that you ensure you have a laptop and proper software installed before classes begin. Including Office 365, you have to have the ability to install that program. The cost of repairs to your laptop and all maintenance to ensure that the cybersecurity of the college and of your private information is also your responsibility. Adhering to the computing and network resources acceptable use policy. It's up to you as well to have stable and consistent internet service wherever you're working from, which is not an issue at the college. And you must have the latest version of an internet browser, so Chrome, Firefox, or Microsoft. And next slide, I believe both. Okay, so first week of classes, what to expect. Introduction and outline of each course that you will be undertaking. Making new friends, which is always fun. You'll be able to explore the campus. You can use all facilities provided, the gym, the library, the cafeteria, student lounges, and so on. And this will be made easy with your digital student card. Next slide. And I'm going to pass it over to my colleague and friend, Digpal Singh.
Sorry, I was on mute. Merci, Nicole, for the suggestion and the information. I think the key takeaway from that part was before traveling to Canada, make sure you have access to your OCAS account. You might need it in future to access any documents like your LOA or your provincial attestation letter. So it is always good to have access to those accounts whenever you need. Again, thank you so much for attending this session. Please accept my greetings. I am an international student advisor, and my main portfolio is to help and support international students with immigration matters. And I also try my best to guide or mentor them during their journey here at Canada whenever possible. So in next few slides or 10 minutes, I guess, I will go over some points and discuss on some aspects when you are traveling to Canada. First one would be, next slide, is housing and accommodation. I think it's the biggest stress point, I guess. And if finding an accommodation and housing sometimes can be difficult too, and we have a couple of options. If your preference is on-campus housing, I will ask you to take a look at the website we have at Canada, to go through their website and see what services and options they have. You obviously will have direct access to some of the services. If your main campus is College Drive, so residence is just uphill, you can probably walk to the main campus. And then, on campus can help you network and make new friends as well. Then if your preferred way is to go for off-campus housing, we have to leverage technology in this case. You can search through Marketplace Facebook. There's an app and a website called Kijiji, where you will find, all the rental options that you have. And you can narrow it down with your budget or location. They sometimes have photos, so you can look at the place, which makes it easy to, make a decision. We also have rental.ca, which is same as Kijiji. I've also seen some students networking early, and they form a group through WhatsApp or some social platforms, and they start working on these or this issue as a group. So maybe 4 people get together, and then they look for a house together. I think I also want to stress here to be aware and not to get trapped in some scams. Never pay upfront before signing a lease or before you visit the place and when you are ready to take it. Most common is if you start interacting with the person who has listed a place, they will ask around $100 or $200 or maybe more for you to book a visit, and they will probably say it is refundable in the end if you don't want to take that place. Please don't fall into those traps. If you have a friend in North Bay, ask them to visit and then, see the place through them and only make that decision. And remember, something that is too good to be true is probably not true. Other suggested item here is also to have a better experience, which is, through an iSent. It's an app through which you can access different services we provide, like book an appointment with me, other resources or reading material that can help you, helping you to start your journey here at Canada. You may also want to consider having your international driving license or a driver's license to, if you're planning to travel and buy a car here. Next slide, please. Okay, so before you travel, obviously this will be at a point where you have a visa already approved. So you want to book a flight, and then you want to consider if you want to transit through some airports or countries, and if they have any special requirements. Sometimes people prefer to book a direct flight to avoid any transit issues. And sometimes people do choose to have a layover to stretch or probably do an exercise, because sometimes I know I am from India and it's a 14 to 15 hour direct flight, and not everyone would like that. When you are in a process of booking your flight, please check what is the baggage allowance that you will get. Recently, some airlines have restricted their baggage allowance to only 1 checked-in baggage. So please be very careful when you are booking your flight. And then make sure your passport and other documents, they are all up to date and ready. And there should not be any problems with your documents that are needed for traveling purposes. Next slide, please. Next we have is financial planning. That is your tuitions and fees, living expenses, and any emergency funds. All three are very important. Your LOA will tell you how much a tuition fee would be, which is an estimated cost. Living expenses, that is rent, utilities, groceries, and emergency fund is if there are certain situations where you had a case which put you in a financial stress, so you can access those emergency fund. I think I would like to highlight over here that so sometimes students come with an expectation that they will find a job right away, and that will help them cover their living expenses or tuition. And getting a job is always a good thing, but be prepared. If in cases you don't find a job, you should have sufficient financial resources that is not going to affect your studies here and your health, because we do find sometimes people being in stressful situation when there are due dates coming along, and they are not finding a way how they should pay their tuition, which is why you should always have an emergency fund. Coming along with your family members, well, recently IRCC has made a lot of changes around this, that students who are coming to colleges, they might not be able to bring their spouses or kids or children. But obviously they have an option to get a visitor visa, and then they can accompany you to help you in first few weeks. When students are coming along with their family members, that means the financial threshold is increasing, because more money would be spent on grocery or rent and flight tickets and everything. In any case, if you are still able to come to Canada with a child, please note that finding a daycare in North Bay can be sometimes difficult, which is why you need to do some research on that and have backup plans just in case. Supplemental medical and travel insurance, which is just to make sure you have, if you're using a travel agent, that can probably explain some options to you. This is an insurance that covers you during your flights or first few days in a new country. Very common one is, if there are any boarding issues, or if you lost your baggage. So this insurance can come in handy and help you with your concerns and in your transition. Okay, so during travel, carry-on baggage is kind of a very strategic way to pack, and things you should carry, which you might need during flights. Make sure that all your travel documents, mainly passports and everything, if you have any certificates or diplomas, you carry them in your carry-on bag. So this is a bag that will always stay with you when you are flying, and you'll have full access to this bag, which means the chances of misplacing this bag is very minimal. And you might also sometimes need some medications, which you need during a flight. I know hydration is a common one. You might need some power bank. No liquids are allowed in carry-on baggage. I personally always take an empty water bottle and fill it in at the airport, and then and then I use it during my flight to stay hydrated. Next slide. So on this slide, we are going through some items, that things you should bring to Canada and things you might want to not bring, I guess. First thing and foremost is to check your itinerary when you have booked your flights. The baggage allowance is generally 23 kgs or less. And some airlines are flexible on that. I know Air Canada is, but sometimes they stick to 23 kgs. So advice is not to go more than 23 kgs. Because you will be coming now during summer and springtime, so you can pack, lightly. So your clothes and shoes can be summer based, although do bring a jacket just in case sometime if there is a chilly around. Uh, if you need an all country charging pin, you can bring some stationery and household items to, help you during first few weeks. Uh, Now, the second point is important because students do want to, get some item which is like their home based, items or their local food. Uh, that always will carry a risk. You cannot bring fruits, vegetable, and things like that, especially when these are raw things that are not allowed in Canada. And the CBSA officer will not allow these items to be coming in because of their health concerns. Thank you. Now, most of you, or I guess 99%, you will be arriving to Toronto Airport, Pearson Airport, and then many students would have someone already in Canada who can help them, first few days, I guess 3 to 4 days, and then they can help them uh, and support them in bringing them to North Bay as well. That is always a good thing to have a friend, just in case if there's if you are the first person who is going to set foot in this country, then you will have to consider the bus service or the van service we have. So Ontario Northland is, they have bus services from Toronto to North Bay. I have a link over here through which you can see their timings and then you can book a ticket as well. The Northern Airport service is another van-based charter services, and they do offer student pricing. So please do consider these two options if you need any help traveling from Toronto to North Bay. Next thing is what to expect at the airport. And if you're traveling first time internationally, I think you might be very concerned and stressful how things will be at the airport. So it's not that difficult when you land at the airport. There will be signs and options which will guide you. Everyone goes through the customs check and border security checks. And then because you will be a first time, you will go through, I guess you will go through the primary check where you will be issued a study permit. So what generally happens in this case is you land and then you go to a computer machine where you will scan your passport or a visa, and you will be going through some Q&A, which is a declaration, things like, are you bringing any food? Where are you traveling from? So please make sure when you go through those questionnaire, you answer those questions carefully and truthfully. And it will print a declaration card. Along with this declaration card and passport, you will go to a primary inspection where the border officer will probably see the reason for your visit. And during that interaction, he will guide you and tell you to go to a secondary check where they will see all your documents like your LOA, your financial financial resources, and through their assessment, they will issue you a study permit. So you will be issued a study permit at the airport. And when you get the study permit, please make sure that all information along with your personal information, now they will also include your college name. All these details have to be correct. And if you are enrolled in a program which includes a placement or a co-op, please make sure you also get your co-op work permit. And again, all the details on those permits should be correct. Next slide. Yes. Once you receive your permit, then you will probably go to baggage collection, and every airport has big TV screens where they will tell you that this flight's luggage will be and the baggage from that flight will be coming through some carousel number. So please check what is the carousel or the belt on which your baggage is coming, and then you will have to wait to collect your baggage. During this time, because an airport, the airplane is putting all the baggage for every passenger, so there can be some delays in this. You might get your first bag very fast, but the second one is taking some time. So there's no need to panic or think that they lost their baggage. Please wait. And then if there are any issues right at that moment, inform the airline staff there. Next slide. Okay, next one is when to arrive. Well, first thing is you can start making your plans when you received your visa and you have your passport now with you. You can start working on when you want to fly, and then you will want to consider on which date is that you're finding the best price ticket. Please make sure you don't arrive late, especially. So there's no specific guidelines from Canada or CBSA how early you can arrive. Our advice would be to arrive no more than 4 weeks. The CBSA officer has authority and they can question if you are arriving why so early. So if you have a reason, it will be a personal situation, but idle time would be no more than 4 weeks. Next slide. Okay, yes, so arriving late will probably not be accepted because you will be missing out some classes or orientation. And when you miss those classes and orientation, it's going to affect your success and, study plans. So every student should be here by first day of their classes, and you should also know your deadlines in your LOA. And if student is arriving late, they are at risk of losing their admission. And as Nicole said, when you land and when you get your study permit, please make sure as soon as possible, upload those study permit in OCAS and start working on your registration process. Once you register, at least you know that you have some confirmation. That means you can continue with the classes. Don't wait until last minutes or days. Next slide. Okay, that was all me. Thank you again for your time. I think I probably took a little longer. I have Sarah here who will share some details about living in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm the Agent Relations Coordinator here at the International Office. In this section, Marley Hill will also be presenting with me. Marley, are you there?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm also a member of the international team here at Canadore College. A fun fact about me is the first time I took an airplane was when I traveled abroad to study in England for a semester, and a few photos that I have here are from that time. So today we'll get you introduced to living in Canada, and Sarah will start us off in this section.
Thank you, Marty. Okay. First slide we're going to go through is culture shock. I'm not sure if many of you have heard of this before. Culture shock is something many students experience, which is feeling of loneliness, social isolation, and culture shock in the first few months. Culture shock, it's like a roller coaster, and it's often noted in 4 stages. The first stage is the honeymoon stage, and it's when a culture is new, exciting, and you're positively surprised by your host country. Everything is amazing and exciting. The next stage would be the rejection phase. And this is when life realities can start to set in and things can start to feel overwhelming, and sometimes your viewpoint can start to feel negative. The stage that comes after that is the regression stage, and it can sometimes lead to a want to connect with somebody from your home country, maybe you miss them. And then the final stage, the final phase, which is the recovery phase. This is when you can start to feel more connected to your host culture and you feel that you are finally starting to fit in. Now, it's important to note that during your time at Canadore, please know that there are services and resources available to support your well-being. And there are also settlement services available throughout Ontario that can help you start this adventure. And just remember that living and attending school abroad is a fantastic opportunity where you can experience different cultures and traditions. Next slide, please. So something important to note is something called the social insurance number. To work in Canada or to access government programs and benefits, you will need a 9-digit social insurance number, or a SIN. You have two main locations that you can collect this from. Some people do collect that at the airport, or if you are maybe a bit too stressed or anxious, you can leave it and then visit one of the Service Canada offices where they will help you with issuing your SIN. So your SIN is a personal and confidential number, and it's illegal for anyone else to use your SIN, and you're responsible for keeping it safe. Important tips are to never share your SIN unless absolutely necessary, and you would normally share it with your employer or a new place you're working at. Keep your SIN letter in a safe place to protect it from identity theft. So once you issue your SIN, it will be provided on a piece of paper. So just make sure that you keep that safe at all times and do not share it with anyone. And if you do lose your SIN card or believe it's been used fraudulently, you need to contact Service Canada immediately. So some of you here might be bringing your children with you to Canada, and these are some important notes to have. So to ensure a focused and safe learning environment, children are not allowed in the classrooms here at Canadore, as it may cause distractions for both students and instructors. There are childcare arrangements that you can make. So as Paul noted, this is something that you have to plan for before you travel to Canada. There are childcare fees, which normally range from $30 to $60 per day. And most centers charge for 5 days, even if full-time care isn't needed. You have to also know that the wait lists are pretty extensive because the demand is so high, and it sometimes can take a few years for you to get a slot for your child. And for before and after school care, school-aged children may still need additional care outside of school hours. And please note that never leave your children under 16 unattended, as this can lead to serious consequences, including legal actions. But if you are bringing your children to Canada, we encourage you to reach out to our international at canadorecollege.ca for guidance, and also look out for an email titled Coming to Canada, Bringing Your Children to Canada, as it provides more information on this topic. All right, so understanding your financial responsibilities, you have to make sure that you have planned and budgeted your time here in Canada very well. There are resources online that can give you more of an idea of the updated cost of things and how to budget for them. For example, in this chart, you can see each expense, for example, books and supplies. Let's say the estimated cost that this will cost you per year is 1,800 Canadian dollars. And for residence and housing, you're going to need another $8,000 for your year of study. Food and entertainment will cost you a certain amount. Keep budgeting, also budget, for your laptop, clothing, childcare if your children are coming with you, and transportation. Just to, be fully aware of all the costs associated with your studies and living expenses in Canada, and be prepared for the unexpected. This is something that Paul has already also touched on, which is employment opportunities. So while many students find jobs when they're studying here at Canadore, employment is obviously not guaranteed. So we encourage you to plan your finances without relying on work as your primary source of funding. Payment policies here at Canadore that you should also be aware of is to ensure a smooth academic experience. Please be aware that payment extensions or reprieve are rarely granted. Missing payments may result in registration holds or the loss of your seat or non-compliance with your study permit if you are not attending classes. And lastly, financial responsibility. So managing your finances is essential for a successful experience in Canada. We recommend creating a budget before you arrive, of course, just to ensure that you are financially stable throughout your studies. So let's go through this case study just to give you a better example of what the topics that I've just talked about. So Arya arrived in Canada to pursue a business management degree, and she planned to find a part-time job to help cover her expenses while studying. What are the challenges that she faced? Employment struggles. So the competitive job market and her limited availability due to class schedules and IRCC policies made finding work difficult. She also had financial shortfall. So without the additional income, Arya's savings quickly ran out and she struggled to pay tuition, rent, and living expenses. Her academic and immigration consequences. So missing tuition payments led to a registration block, putting her seat at jeopardy. Failing to maintain full-time enrollment could risk her study permit. What is the outcome? Arya had to make a difficult decision. With no money left and no job, she thought about going home. This taught her how important it is to plan finances carefully before coming to Canada. All right, for part-time employment, again, there are employment opportunities here for you, and they can be accessed and researched through Indeed. You can use JobBank, LinkedIn, and do a quick search for like entry or something that you have previous experience in. Also for jobs on campus, you can visit our website at the Canadore job portal to view what are the availabilities here. But it's very important or to flag something during this session, and it's to be aware of job scams and what are the red flags you should be looking for. Unfortunately, they are happening quite often around here. So just note that when you do receive a job offer, that there aren't requests for personal or banking details, and there isn't the urgent pressure to act immediately. Also, there's no high pay for simple tasks. That could be a red flag. And no verifiable company information. So make sure that you research the company that has contacted you, and also just, is it a company that you even applied for? And what can you do to stay safe? So research the company before applying, ignore unsolicited job offers, use trusted job platforms, never pay for a job, and seek advice if unsure. There's also an email that you can keep an eye out for, from Coming to Canada email series, and that's going to give you more tips on job searches.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sarah. I'll take it from here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about on-campus housing. So in North Bay, we have residence options available for housing, which most of them are located really close to the College Drive campus. Living in residence provides a community of students and many faculty, such as internet, on-site laundry, and utilities. Residents include a great option, and you do have the option, though, to have a secure housing off-site. So our off-campus housing is really a great option here in North Bay, but we do want you to be aware of some of those potential and fraudulent housing scams and to protect yourself. So going off of what Paul said, make sure that you are viewing that rental or space and that you do not pay just to view the unit. This is not common practice. And as Sarah shared, our social insurance or SIN number is something that's really important to keep private. So you do not need to share that with a landlord when you're filling out an application to rent a property or negotiating a lease. It is not a mandatory requirement for a new tenant. If your landlord does wish to conduct a credit check, they can do this with your full name, address, and date of birth, but they do need your written consent for this. If you notice that an apartment or house is much cheaper than other units in the area, that might also be a red flag. If the landlord's not able to personally show you the unit, again, this is a little bit concerning. If you see that the unit's posted on multiple websites with different contact information, again, you might want to be wary. And if the unit looks completely different than it did in the pictures that you saw, or if the landlord asks for a large amount of money to rent, to apply, or rent the home. We also want to note that there are home share programs as well. So a home share program is when a homeowner and the tenant use the same living spaces. So it's like having a room within a home. For those that are attending our West Prairie Sound campus, we do have additional information as well, and you can reach out to us about that. We want to just note that it is the student's responsibility to find and acquire those accommodations. We do also have many options of places for worship here at our various campuses. In particular, in North Bay and Parry Sound, we have spaces for various faiths. So please feel free to take some time to research the lists with the links included here to learn more. So you can go straight to northbayimmigration.ca, living in North Bay, and then faith and worship, just to see what options are available that you might be interested in. Now, we do want to talk about phone plans and banking in Canada as well. So for our phone plans, there are a few different options. For example, Fido, Koodo, Virgin, Rogers on the cell phone networks, and they're providers within Canada. And they provide some friendly international talk time deals based on usage needs for each student. There are a lot of different options, so please research which one works best for you. It is ideal for a student to carry their passport while getting their cell phone number, as majority of these network providers will ask for photo ID proof. In regards to banking, the Canadian dollar is the only currency that's commonly accepted across Canada. You can exchange most currencies for Canadian at any commercial bank. It is advisable to arrive in Canada with some immediate costs in mind and cash or a card to cover those expenses, so things like a taxi, the grocery, hotel, or even the bus. If you would like to open a bank account, there are several commercial bank branches near the campus, and all of them offer similar plans and benefits. There are 5 main banks here in Canada: Scotiabank, TD Bank, CIBC, RBC, and BMO, but there are a few other options and credit unions as well. When we look at grocery in Canada, international grocery is increasing in diverse food options in North Bay and in Parry Sound. Most grocery stores have an additional diverse aisle with some items that you might recognize straight from home. We also have our North Bay Farmers Market with some local options. And some examples of grocery stores here in North Bay include No Frills, Independent, FreshCo, Walmart, Spices Village, Bulk Barn, and Food Basics. It is important to take into account your housing location in relation to the closest grocery store to you. We do recognize, though, that sometimes you may not feel like cooking. And in those instances, we do have a great diversity of cuisine here in North Bay. So you can see here just some of the options. We have JT Sushi, Taza Donair, Amritsari Bites, Tahinis, etc. I'm going to talk a little bit here about our health insurance plans. So we know that accidents do happen. If you ever become sick or injured, know that your GuardMe insurance here will help you. The GuardMe More Enhanced plan is your emergency health insurance plan during your program of studies. Your plan includes no deductibles and covers hospital and clinic visits and medically required surgery and diagnostic testing. The plan is comprehensive and covers the cost of an ambulance, maternity expenses for pregnancies that start during the term of your policy, an annual eye exam, and a physical exam. The plan also covers you anywhere in the world except your home country. I do want to note that this is an emergency medical travel plan, and there are items that are not covered. Examples of exclusions during your stay in Canada include plastic or cosmetic surgery, expenses from your home country, claims that result from drug or alcohol use, elective or non-emergency medical treatments, and medication that's commonly available without a prescription. I do have an infographic here with just some information topically. So as I said, your hospital visits, you do get full coverage as long as you wait and see your doctor, and it is something that is new and emerging for you. Prescriptions, you have up to a 60-day supply covered, psychotherapy, ambulance, pregnancies for those that are within 30 days from your policy start, dental accidents or emergency dental from pain and suffering, and then family transportation benefits. And I do want to note that our international office is here to help you if you ever have any questions about your claim or how to submit a claim about your insurance. Our next section here is on driving in Ontario. So in Ontario, we have a graduated license system. And to possess a full driver's license, it helps to reduce the risk that new drivers face, especially when you're dealing with more ice and snow. This means going from what's called a G1 to a G2 and then a full G license, which is a road test. New drivers must wait for a set duration of time before passing to that next level of driving. However, applying for a new driver's license in Ontario, you may be able to use what's called a driving extract. And this is something that would be written with an official letterhead in either French or in English. And it should not be more than 6 months old. Your driving extract would also include information like the issue and expiry date of your license, the class of your license, for example, if it's a learner's permit or a full license, and the confirmation that the license was paid for the relevant period of time for the purposes of establishing your experience driving. If you'd like to, you can look up more details about driving in Ontario by visiting arrivein.com/daily life in Canada and how to get a driver's license in Ontario. Now, if you don't want to drive, we do also have public transportation. For our North Bay campus students, the ancillary fees usually include a bus pass for the North Bay City Transit. Please keep an eye out about an email about this for our incoming students in the spring semester. You can find routes and information on the North Bay Transit website, and most bus routes run every 15, 30, or 60 minutes throughout the city. We also have other options like taxi or U-Rides, and here are some of our taxi numbers, biking through our bike trails, and a lot of our places here in North Bay are within walking distance. I do want to note that the North Bay bus services do have what's called a dynamic dispatching app and a MyRide NBT app, which you're more than welcome to download. Both of these are really helpful to be able to prepare for those bus routes. I have the QR codes right here. So the MyRide app is on the left, and then our dynamic dispatching is on the right. These allow you to be able to book your bus rides if it's after hours or at a different time. And the MyRide app lets you kind of track the bus to see where they are, so you know if it's running late, if you're waiting. And with that, I will pass it over to my colleague Jessica, who will speak to you about some of our communication-related concerns. Thank you so much.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody. I'm Jessica. A few pictures of myself and my family. We can move on, though. I will just confirm that for the spring intake, so all of the students that are here right now, the bus pass is an additional fee on top of your tuition and ancillary fees. I don't know exactly that fee at this moment, but we will send you a message with that. So the first thing we're going to talk about is information that you can trust. We've been talking about that a lot throughout this entire slideshow. So there can be some scams and some fraudulent information out there. So we want to make sure that you understand that it is your responsibility to use official and accurate information. You should not depend on agents, WhatsApp groups, or friends for important details. You need to look into those. You know, you might hear something from a friend or an agent, but check with the international department, the international admissions department, check our website, check IRCC. You can call IRCC, I believe, and other official websites. So make sure that you are using official websites. If you do need clarity, you can always email us at international@canadaorcollege.ca, and we'll throw that in the chat as well. Or you can stop in and visit us. We're usually at every single campus here: College Drive, Commerce Court, and Aviation. And you can see our room numbers right there. So everybody wants quick answers, of course. Sometimes emailing is not the quickest way to get an answer. The quickest way to get answers is to look on our website, canadaorcollege.ca. We also have a microsite, so you can, I'll go into details about how to find that. We have an FAQ where you can find answers. And you recently received a Coming to Canada emails There's been quite a few of those. If you haven't received them, please let us know at international@canadacollege.ca. Those have very important information, as well as information on how to download iSent, where we send a lot of important information, and you can access important information there as well. So again, this is where there's some QR codes here where you can download the iSent app. There's a QR code to go to the international section of the Canadore College website. There's a QR code for our FAQ. And just as I had mentioned, the Coming to Canada series emails have been coming out with a lot of information. I think there's been one sent every single day for the last week and a half. But if you still have questions, you're always welcome to email us. For most inquiries, you can send them to international@canadorecollege.ca. But if you have a question about your application, your registration, or OCAS, you can email international.admissions@canadorecollege.ca. Again, if you have a moment, you know what, we'll pause for a moment so you can go and download iSent right now. So we will take a 30-second pause, if that's okay with everybody. Please download iSent right now. Hopefully that gave you some time to start your download, and we will send you some important information that way. As well, check your emails for the Coming to Canada email. So this is just a little bit of information how to check your iSent. So iSent does send emails, but you can also log in or set up your notifications. And you'll see a couple or a few of the latest notifications that we've been sending out. You can see there's quite a few events and activities, as well as some, there's the Refer a Friend program, some Conversation Club. There's a paramedicine clinic that we do. So we send out information about events that we do, as well as important information. Can we go back? Thank you. So through the iSent app, you can also book with our advisors. We have our health insurance advisor. So you can go to health insurance. This is this middle image right here. This is what your dashboard will look like on iSent. So you have health insurance. You can click on that, go to book with our health insurance advisor, and then there's a link to book time with Marley. So Marley is our health insurance advisor right now. You also can book with our international student advisor. So this is for immigration related purposes, your study permit, PGWP, those kinds of things if you have questions. So once you are here and you're registered, you can book with Paul, and you click on that international student advisor and you'll book time with Paul. We can move on. So another great way to find questions is to browse our website. You can browse by using the tabs at the top or the resources found at the bottom of each page. There's a lot of information, like there's a directory, there's student resources. Those are really important. Or you can also use the search bar. So if you're looking for information on housing or orientation, or even residence, you can click on the little spyglass and enter the words that you're looking for. There's a lot of information on our website, and these are just a few of the examples of things that you might find answers to, such as housing and residence, events, important dates, which includes the dates that your fees will be due. There's virtual tours for each of your campuses. You also received a Coming to Canada email with the virtual tours as well. There's student employment opportunities listed on our website. I believe it's under support, and you can find our international microsite. So if you go to support, you can go to international, and that'll take you to the international microsite. We'll find a lot of information. We have an international wellness toolkit. You'll see the little case with the heart in the middle of it. That's a link to the international wellness toolkit. We have advising and supports information about the health insurance that Marley has already gone through with you. There's FAQs, and you can find out who to contact depending on the situation. Now, if you're trying to search here, you can use the little spyglass again. And for example, you want to look for iSend, you can enter iSend and find that as well. Once you click on FAQ, it's one of the top tabs, you'll find information for a lot of the commonly asked questions. Things like traveling to Canada, registration, study permit questions, fees, how to pay your fees, what our refunds look like. If you're looking for specific information here in the FAQs, what you can do is press Shift and F, and then there will be a little typing tab where you can search the word that you're looking for. So all in all, the best way to get answers is to check the website, the FAQs, check iSend, check those coming to Canada emails. But if you still have a question, you can send us an email. Sometimes, though, it does take us a little bit of time to get through those emails because we do get quite a few. I hope you do enjoy your time here. We have been pretty serious throughout these slides because we want to make sure that you understand the importance and your responsibilities of arriving here and what you need to do. Once you do arrive here, though, we do try our best to make it as fun as possible. And I think we have Swapnil next to tell you how he's been enjoying his time here. And I did miss this. We do have an upcoming session. One session as a part of our orientation. This is virtual. It's called Getting Off to the Right Start. This session is specific to international students, but this one will have a lot of information about admissions, financial aid, and different offices throughout Canada. So you can register now for this. It's on April 2nd at 9 a.m. Eastern. So I will now pass it on to Swapnil, one of our students. And we've also had the pleasure of working with Swapnil as well, and he will give you a good update on how his time's been here.
Hi, this is Swapnil again. As I said, I'm international student and navigator here in international office, but I'm also a current student in Canada College, and I will share my experience from fall 2023 till now, that how it has been, and it's really a wonderful journey till now. Next slide, please. So as per my point of view, I would like to talk about few main points as a student which we are looking for since beginning. First is housing, another one is groceries, then classes, social life, and iSend app. Next slide, please.
We just have the summaries here, Swapnil. Do you have your
Oh, yeah,
notes
I
there
do.
for a minute?
Yeah. So as an international student, everyone who is coming to Canada at first place, they might go to the city where their relatives or friends are, any family members are already there, which can help them in certain ways, such as like finding accommodation, introduce them to the general rules and regulations in Canada, everything like that. So however, in my case, I didn't have anywhere to go or any source of information or any idea what to do for accommodation and rules and regulations. So eventually I just arrived here in Canada, came to North Bay, and finding help for accommodation and stuff. So I just directly visited international office in Canada College, and I got help from the international office that how can I secure accommodation. They gave me the email for on-campus housing, and they explained me how can I find accommodation off campus as well, which actually helped me to find accommodation. And it was actually even before orientation and before starting my classes and everything, like it was like 5 days before orientation I came and checked in, and I was still able to get my answers before starting my journey as a student here in Canada. Then for groceries and groceries as an international student, I don't know about the others, but I was comparing Canadian dollars with my own currency every time when I'm going to buy groceries in any of the places such as like Freshco or Walmart or any No Frills, as I can buy like different prices from different grocery stores for different products. So like when you're comparing prices from like Freshco, from Walmart, or from somewhere else, I will see like if I'm buying this product, is it cheaper somewhere else? So like cut down the cost and save some money up front, right? So I used to use some of the apps which you can easily find on Play Store or App Store, that which can actually gives you flyers of the different grocery shops, and you can compare the prices. And most of the places do compare, like you can ask them to match the price, so you don't have to go to different grocery store for different products. You can just ask them to match the price of the different places as well, which can actually help you save some money. For the classes, as per my experience in my country, it was mostly pen and paper based. So like we have to write down the assignments, and we have to explain the presentations only on the computers. Otherwise we have to write down everything with along with pen and paper. But here in Canada, it's totally different. It's more on computer based. Like you have to have your laptop with you to make your assignments for quizzes. And the main thing is the D2L Brightspace app, or the D2L website, on which is like a learning platform, which is used by Canada College. And most of the in that platform actually, you can see your course contains your professor's introduction, your course outline. They will send you links and assignments. You can submit your assignments, you can do your quizzes. So at first it's a little difficult. Like as a student, when I saw that D2L first, I was really confused how to use it. So if you are also feeling same, you can ask your professor as many times as you want to. He can explain you. Like all the professors are very helpful here, even if you think that this question may be silly. But no question is a silly question. You just have to ask and get your answers. And if you're not asking, you might fool yourself by not asking the question, because you think it's a silly question. But you should ask, you get an answer, and it can help you to do your help your academic journey to go further easily, and like smooth transition from pen and paper to D2L, like the online learning platform, right? And there is a CAN 100 course as well, which they assign you for the first semester, which you might think is not like graded. It's not going to give you good grades on your transcript and stuff, but it's really helpful. So I'd recommend you to do it like within first 2 weeks of your journey, because it's really helpful. It gives you all the information related to college, or where you can meet. There are like bunch of information actually, like where is the what you will do if you want to go on D2L. If you want to go on the homepage, you have to click on the Canada logo and this and that. So like there is bunch of information which can like a lot of questions answers, and which can help you to understand the D2L, the college campus, and etc. Then, if we talk about the social life, Canada International Department celebrates all the events from different places, such as like Diwali party, Lunar New Year, Black History Month, etc. Canada College is actually a really a diverse environment. It have a lot of cultures, a lot of international students across the globe. So a lot of different cultures you can see here in Canada College at the campus. You might see in your classes from like a lot of students from different places, different regions in same from the same place as well. We organize events like movie nights, game nights, and sports tournaments as well. You will also have access to clubs and societies where you can meet new people with similar interests. If you're into sports, Canada has great athletic facilities, and we just have created like built the sports dome, which has been completed recently. And you can join intramural teams to stay active and fun. We do have a lot of clubs on our website, like chess club, badminton club. If you're interested in any clubs, even if you are interested in some activity, and if the club is not there, you can also request to the like there is email ID is mentioned on there. You can also gather some friends and start your own club if you want to. And if you want to enjoy the social life by being part of amazing events we organized, you have to be aware when they're happening, right? So like if you're organizing any events such as like Diwali party, Lunar New Year, as I explained, you have to be aware that we are organizing the events, so you can join in and enjoy with us. So for that, any help you need information, like if you need any information as a student, you can find it on iSend app. You just have to download the app, and usually they send you the notifications on iSend app that we are going to celebrate this event. Recently I got a notification for a job fair. So let's say there's like a lot of information you can get through the iSend app continuously, which can actually help you for your academic journey, which can help you to have fun, making new friends and everything. So I recommend it to downloading right away. It's an essential resource for international students here at Canadore, and it provides you with all the important information you need, such as events, deadlines, and general student updates. As shown before, how you can book a meeting with advisors, like for health insurance with Marley and Paul, for student advising for IRCC matters. I can tell you this lifesaver when it comes to staying organized and keeping track of everything. When it's about your student visa, upcoming events, or deadlines for your class, iCENT will have it all in one place. So that's my student experience by being here in Canada and in Canadore. It's been an amazing journey, and I would like to say, no matter what, if you have any questions, you can come to international office. Even though if they're not the direct person or direct guys who can actually answer you or help you out, they can always direct you in the right place, as they did with me like since beginning. And I'm really happy to be here international office. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Swapnil, for sharing your perspective. We just wanted to give a special thanks to everybody who helped make this webinar possible. So thank you to our admissions, registrars offices, our student success teams, our Canada residence team, our career development offices, our campus health offices, and of course the international department.